נא לשבת.
חברות וחברי הכנסת, היום יום שני, כ"א בתשרי התשפ"ו, 13 באוקטובר 2025, ואני מתכבד לפתוח את הישיבה המיוחדת של הכנסת לכבוד נשיא ארצות הברית של אמריקה, מר דונלד ג'יי טראמפ. חברות וחברי הכנסת, בטרם נתחיל אני מזכיר שישיבה זו היא ישיבה מיוחדת ולכן לא יהיו בה הפרעות. מי שיפריע יוצא מאולם המליאה ולא יורשה לשוב אליה עד תום הישיבה. לא תהיינה אזהרות. בנוסף, ניתן יהיה למחוא כפיים בישיבה זו כפי שכבר ראיתם. כבוד נשיא המדינה יצחק הרצוג ורעייתו מיכל, כבוד ראש הממשלה בנימין נתניהו ורעייתו שרה, ראש האופוזיציה יאיר לפיד ורעייתו ליהי, שרים וחברי הכנסת, special recognition to Minister Ron Dermer, who led special recognition to Minister Ron Dermer, who led the negotiation team on behalf of Israel. Thank you, Ron. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff General Dan Kane, two key players, President Trump's special envoy Steve Witkoff, who is here with his partner Lauren, and Jared Kushner, who is here with his wife Ivanka. Thank you guys for everything that you have done to bring about this day. Ambassador of the United States to Israel, my dear friend and my absolute favorite rock star, Mike Huckabee. שגריר ישראל בארצות הברית, יחיאל לייטר. תודה. שגרירים וראשי משלחות זרות, ראש עיריית ירושלים, משה ליאון ורעייתו סתווית, סגל א' של המדינה, ראשי גופי הביטחון, אלה שנמצאים איתנו ואלה שבשטח, הרמטכ"ל רב אלוף אייל זמיר, המפכ"ל רב ניצב דניאל לוי, נציב שירות בתי הסוהר רב גונדר קובי יעקבי, הוא נמצא בשטח, הוא מאלה שנמצאים בשטח, נציב הכבאות וההצלה רב תפסר אייל כספי, ראש המוסד דוד ברנע, ראש שירות הביטחון הכללי, האלוף במילואים דוד זיני, בהצלחה. ראש מנהלת החטופים גל הירש, ראשי ערים וראשי רשויות מקומיות, מנכ"ל הכנסת שהרים ב3 ימים ביקור שדרושים לו 3 חודשים לפחות, משה צ'יקו אדרי, מזכיר הכנסת עורך הדין דן מרזוק, היועצת המשפטית לכנסת עורכת הדין שגית אפיק, קצין הכנסת ניצב יובל חן, חברי הנהלת הכנסת, משפחות חטופים, משפחות שכולות, סגל א' של המדינה, מכובדים מהארץ ומהעולם, ואני פותר בזאת את הדוברים הבאים מאזכור כל המכובדים. קהל יקר, אזרחי ישראל, יש לי הכבוד המיוחד לברך יחד איתכם את החבר הטוב ביותר שהיה אי פעם למדינת ישראל בבית הלבן. ברוך הבא לישראל, ברוך הבא לירושלים, ברוך הבא לכנסת, הנשיא דונלד ג'יי טראמפ. אדוני הנשיא, אני מבקש להודות לך על שהענקת לכנסת את הזכות והכבוד להיות הפרלמנט הראשון מחוץ לארצות הברית שאתה מבקר בו בכהונתך הנוכחית. במסורת היהודית נהוג לברך ברגעים ייחודיים שכאלה, ברוך שנתן מכבודו לבשר ודם. תודה לך, הנשיא טראמפ. כבוד הנשיא, לפני 2000 שנה הוגלינו בכוח הזרוע מנחלת אבותינו, אבל בכל התפוצות בהן חיינו, מעולם לא שכחנו את ירושלים, הלב הפועם של העם היהודי מאז נוסדה כבירתו לפני 3,000 שנה, ואליה התפללנו שנה אחר שנה אחר שנה. ולפני 7 שנים היית אתה, הנשיא טראמפ, שבשם ארצות הברית של אמריקה הכרת בריבונות הישראלית על ירושלים. אתה מימשת הבטחה שנשיאים רבים לפניך הבטיחו, אבל רק אתה קיימת. העברת את השגרירות האמריקאית לירושלים השלמה והמאוחדת. תודה לך, הנשיא טראמפ. משחר הקמתה נאלצה מדינת ישראל להילחם, אך תמיד הושיטה את ידה לשלום. לפני 5 שנים הובלת יחד עם ראש הממשלה נתניהו את הסכמי אברהם. זכיתי לכהן בממשלה שחתמה עליהם, ולימים הם היו בעלי משמעות רבה עבורי גם ברמה האישית, משום שלפני 2.5 זכיתי להיות יושב ראש הכנסת הראשון המקבל הזמנה רשמית לבקר בפרלמנט של מדינה ערבית, וזו הייתה המדינה שבה שני הוריי שנמצאים כאן איתנו נולדו וגדלו, מרוקו. קירבת בין ישראל לבין 4 מדינות ערביות בהסכם שבבסיסו שלום תמורת שלום. תודה לך, הנשיא טראמפ. הרבה לפני כהונתך הראשונה, כבר ב-2011, זיהית את הסכנה שבאיראן גרעינית וכתבת, ואני אומר זאת בשפת המקור ברשותכם: Iran's quest of nuclear weapons is a major threat to our nation's national security interests. We can't allow Iran to go nuclear. איום על ארצות הברית משמעו איום על העולם החופשי כולו. את עמדתך העקבית ששמה את אמריקה ראשונה, America first, אך לא לבדה, but not America alone, הבאת עמך לבית הלבן בשתי כהונותיך. לפני 4 חודשים, לאחר שראש הממשלה נתניהו פתח במבצע עם כלביא, הורית על המבצע פטיש חצות, Midnight Hammer, פעולה אמיצה שלא הייתה כמותה עד שאתה הגעת. בכך, אדוני הנשיא, מנעתם שואה גרעינית שאיראן ביקשה להמיט עלינו ועל העולם, מדינה שבפרלמנט שלה נבחרי הציבור זועקים מוות לאמריקה, מוות לישראל. והיום אנו יכולים לומר למשטר האייתולות באיראן, לא יהיה נשק גרעיני. תודה לך, הנשיא טראמפ. כבוד הנשיא, היום העם היהודי מציין את סיום חג הסוכות, ומחר נציין את שמחת תורה. בשמחת תורה לפני 2 לא שמחנו. היה זה היום הקשה ביותר שחוותה מדינת ישראל משחר הקמתה, והעם היהודי מאז השואה. עשרות פעמים הגעתי יחד עם מנהיגים זרים למקום הטבח. עם רבים מהם ישבתי לצפות בתיעוד המצולם של הזוועות שאני יודע שגם אתה ראית. שבועות ספורים לאחר ה-7 באוקטובר ליוויתי את ג'רד ואיוונקה שהגיעו לכאן לאזורים הקשים ביותר. ראינו את מה שקיווינו, היינו קיבוץ כפר עזה ברעים, וראינו את מה שקיווינו שלא יחזור עוד בתולדות האנושות. מראות של פוגרומים, ילדים, נשים, קשישים, גברים, חיים שלווים שהיו ואינם עוד. השטן לא רק רצח, טבח, אנס ושרף רבים מאחינו ואחיותינו, הוא גם חטף אותם, מתים וחיים. מאז בני ישראל נלחמו את המלחמה הקשה, הארוכה וגם הצודקת בתולדותיהם. הפצע הזה של אחינו החטופים בשבי נותר פתוח ושותת דם מאז ה-7 באוקטובר, כאשר כל עם ישראל כאב את כאב החטופים ובני משפחותיהם, התלויים בין תקווה לייאוש, בין חיים למוות, עד הבוקר הזה. במשך שנתיים, במקום בו יושבים האורחים ביציע שמולנו, כבוד הנשיא, השקיפו מעלינו תמונות החטופים. הבוקר, לקראת האירוע ההיסטורי הזה, זכינו להוריד את התמונות עם חזרתם של החטופים למשפחותיהם. אני אעשה משהו ספונטני, אדוני הנשיא. את סיכת החטופים הזאת, בצבעי כחול לבן, קיבלתי מצביקה מור, אבא של איתן מור. אני מתכבד להוריד אותה, כי לפני רגע דיברתי עם צביקה, איתן כבר בידיהם, והם חוגגים את האיחוד הזה. תודה לך, הנשיא טראמפ. Mr. President, you stand before the people of Israel not as another American president, but as a giant of Jewish history, one for whom we must look back 2.5 millennia into the mists of time to find a parallel, Cyrus the Great. You, President Donald J. Trump, are a colossus who will be enshrined in the pantheon of history. Thousands of years from now, Mr. President, the Jewish people will remember you. We are a nation that remembers. Far from being a local struggle, what we are witnessing is a global struggle, a global battle between the forces of extremism, radicalism, and fundamentalism, and those of freedom, liberty, and democracy. What the world needs now is not appeasers who feed the crocodile in the hope that they will be eaten last, like the kind we have seen recently at the UN General Assembly. And by the way, President Trump, your team has checked the teleprompter. It is working beautifully. What the world needs now are more leaders who are brave, resolute, strong, and bold. The world needs more Trumps. Mr. President, with your permission, I would like to take this moment to address Prime Minister Netanyahu. ראש הממשלה, תודה. ראש הממשלה, עמדת בכל שנות כהונתך, אבל בפרט בשנתיים האחרונות, מול לחצים אדירים. סטיב וויטקוף, שליחו המיוחד של הנשיא טראמפ, שלחם יחד איתך בשוחות על החזרת החטופים, אמר עליך, העבודה הקשה באמת הייתה של ראש הממשלה. הוא זה שהיה צריך לקבל החלטות קשות, עד כמה להיות קשוחים מול חמאס ומתי לגלות גמישות. היו רגעים שחשבתי, כך אומר וויטקוף, שעליכם להתגמש יותר, אבל האמת היא שכעת, במבט לאחור, אני חושב שלא היינו מגיעים לנקודה הזו אם ראש הממשלה נתניהו לא היה פועל כפי שפעל. גם הנשיא שלי, ממשיך ויטקוף, גם הנשיא שלי, אתה אדוני, הנשיא טראמפ, מאמין בכך. הוא מאמין שראש הממשלה נתניהו קיבל החלטות קשות מאוד, והיו אנשים פחות אמיצים שלא היו מקבלים החלטות כאלה. והנה אנחנו כאן היום, משום שלחמאס לא הייתה ברירה, כך אומר ויטקוף. הם נאלצו להגיע להסכם הזה. הלחץ היה עצום ולכם יש צבא גדול. התקדמתם משמעותית בשטח, וזה מה שהוביל להסכם הזה. כך אומר השליח ויטקוף. אדוני ראש הממשלה, אתמול בדרכו לישראל אמר הנשיא טראמפ שאתה הוא האיש הנכון בזמן הנכון. ואני גאה לומר כאן לעיני העולם שבזכותך הגענו להישגים הרבים שאליהם הגענו. תודה לך, ראש הממשלה. ביום הזה נודה מלב האומה וממעמקי הנפש הלאומית לחיילי צה"ל האמיצים, נודה לחיילי צה"ל האמיצים שהסתערו קדימה כאריות וסיכנו את חייהם כדי להגן על מדינת ישראל. רבים מהם נפלו והקריבו את חייהם למען המדינה שמרכינה את ראשה בפניהם ובפני משפחותיהם השכולות. דמם לא נשפך לשווא, כי בגבורתם ובהקרבתם הם הביאו לרגע הנשגב הזה, ושמותיהם יוותרו חקוקים לעד בלב האומה. President Trump, you are the president of peace. There was not a single person on this planet who did more than you to advance peace. No one even came close. Your election to the presidency marked a turning point, not only for the United States, but for the entire world. Through your strength of character and unwavering resolve, you brought an end to bloody conflicts in no fewer than 8 regions across the globe. In less than 9 months, you became one of the most consequential presidents in history. You saved countless lives that would have been lost without your leadership. And as our sages teach, whoever saves one life, it is as though he has saved an entire world. You have proven that true peace is achieved through strength, and that only those who are prepared to use force in the present can prevent the need to use it in the future. Mr. President, you, more than any other individual, are deserving of the highest recognition for your efforts in promoting peace. Therefore, I hereby announce that together with our good friend, Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, we will rally speakers and presidents of parliaments from around the world to submit your candidacy for the Nobel Prize, Peace Prize next year. There is no one more deserving than you, President Trump. No one. אדוני הנשיא, אנחנו ניצבים בפני ההיסטוריה ברגע נשגב שיחקק לדורות. זה יום מאוד מרגש לאזרחי ישראל, יום שכולנו ייחלנו לו. בספר ירמיהו משיב השם לרחל המבכה את בניה. מנעי קולך מבכי ועינייך מדמעה, כי יש שכר לפעולתך, נאום אדוני, ושבו מארץ אויב. ויש תקווה לאחריתך, נאום אדוני, ושבו בנים לגבולם. אני מבקש לאחל מכל ליבי החלמה מהירה ושלמה לפצועים ולחטופים השבים. כמה טוב שבאתם הביתה. הנשיא טראמפ, מי ייתן והעושה שלום במרומיו יברך אותך, נשיא השלום, את ארצך ואזרחיה, את משפחתך וכל היקרים לך, ויעשה שלום עלינו ועליכם. May God bless you, President Trump. May God bless the United States of America. And may God bless the state of Israel. תודה רבה וחג שמח. אני מתכבד להזמין כעת את ראש הממשלה, חבר הכנסת בנימין נתניהו, לשאת דברים.
מכובדי הנשיא הרצוג ורעייתו מיכל, מכובדיי הרבים, ובראשם ידידנו הגדול, נשיא ארצות הברית, הנשיא דונלד ג'יי טראמפ. ברוך בואך לירושלים בירתנו הנצחית. ברוך בואך לישראל ביום המרגש הזה שיחקק בתולדות עמנו. וגם אתה, הנשיא, תחקק בתולדות עמנו, כי כבר נחקקת בתולדות האנושות. אבל אנחנו, כפי שנאמר, זוכרים את ידידנו, ואנחנו יודעים את חלקך החשוב והמכריע בהחזרת יתרת חטופינו ביום הזה שהתבשרנו עכשיו, רק לפני שעה קלה, שכל חטופינו החיים שבו אלינו. איזו התרגשות. כמה חיכינו לרגע הזה, ואנחנו מחויבים להחזיר את כולם. ואני רוצה להודות לך באופן אישי, ובשם האומה כולה. תודה לך, הנשיא טראמפ. תודה לך. Now, I know that the teleprompters are working well, though I'm not using them. But I'm not sure about the translation. So I'll say words in English. President Trump, the Knesset welcomes you and your distinguished delegation to Jerusalem, our eternal capital. This is your first visit to Israel since you recognize Jerusalem as our capital and moved the embassy here. Thank you, President Trump, for that. There are many other reasons to thank you since your last visit here. Thank you for recognizing Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. Thank you for standing up to the lies against Israel in the United Nations. Thank you for recognizing in your 2020 peace plan our rights in Judea and Samaria, the ancestral homeland of the Jewish people. Thank you for brokering the historic Abraham Accords. Abraham, Eskhemei Avraham. Thank you for withdrawing from the disastrous Iran nuclear deal. Thank you for supporting Operation Rising Lion and for your bold decision to launch Operation Midnight Hammer. Boy, is that, you got to hear this. This is the most fitting name ever named for a military operation, because a little after midnight, you really hammered them. My friends, this is only a partial list, but it's enough to affirm what I've said time and again. Donald Trump is the greatest friend that the state of Israel has ever had in the White House. No American president has ever done more for Israel. And as I said in Washington, it ain't even close. It's really not a match. Mr. President, today we welcome you here to thank you for your pivotal leadership in putting forward a proposal that got the backing of almost the entire world. A proposal that brings all our hostages home. A proposal that ends the war by achieving all our objectives. A proposal that opens the door to an historic expansion of peace in our region and beyond our region. Mr. President, you are committed to this peace. I am committed to this peace. And together, Mr. President, we will achieve this peace. We've done it before. We've done it before in the Abraham Accords, and we'll do it again. Mr. President, today the Jewish calendar marks the end of 2 years of war. That war began on October 7th, on the Jewish festival of Simchat Torah. You always tell me, and you tell the world, remember October 7th. Mr. President, we remember. We remember the thousands of Hamas terrorists who stormed into our towns and kibbutzim. We remember the 1,200 people Hamas savagely slaughtered in cold blood, including dozens and dozens of Americans. We remember entire families burnt alive as they embraced each other. We remember the beautiful young Israelis brutally gunned down at the Nova Music Festival. We remember the hundreds of our citizens who were dragged into the dungeons of Gaza, including 12 Americans, men and women, young and old, babies and elderly Holocaust survivors. My friends, Mr. President, Donald, these monsters take babies as hostages. In response to this barbaric attack on October 7th, Israel did what it had to do. With indomitable courage, we set out to defend our people, to defeat our enemies, and to release our hostages. Our heroic soldiers fought like lions. They fought on the front lines of civilization and barbarism. Israel achieved amazing victories over Hamas and the entire Iran terror axis. Sinwar, Dev, Hania, Nasrallah, Assad, they're all gone. Iran's nuclear weapons and ballistic missile program, with your enormous help, Mr. President, rolled back. Half the Houthi leadership wiped out. But the price of this victory, the price of these victories, has been heavy. Nearly 2,000 of Israel's finest were lost, nearly half in battle. They left behind parents, spouses, siblings, and children. Their love and laughter, their promise and potential were lost forever. To the families of our fallen fighters, many of them are here, I say, I know the depth of your pain. I know the inconsolable grief that will accompany you for the rest of your lives. The state of Israel bows its head in eternal gratitude to our fallen heroes. Because of these heroes, our nation will survive. Because of these heroes, our nations will thrive. And because of these heroes, our nation will have peace. Mr. President, thousands of our brave soldiers were also wounded, suffering terrible blows to body and soul. Brave soldiers like Ari Spitz. Ari is an American. Ari is an American Israeli who was injured
প্যাডেলটা করতে হবে, অন করে দিতে হবে। অটো কিউ মনে অফ আছে, মানে প্যাডেল। হ্যাঁ, ঠিক আছে। এখন প্রচারণার শেষ দিনে ব্যস্ত চাকসু প্রার্থীরা দিচ্ছেন প্রতিশ্রুতি। রাকসুতে প্রচারপত্র বিলিতে চলছে শেষ সময়ের প্রচারণা। পুলিশি হামলার প্রতিবাদে সারা দেশের এমপিওভুক্ত শিক্ষকদের অনির্দিষ্টকালের কর্মবিরতি, শিক্ষা প্রতিষ্ঠানে পাঠদান বন্ধ। টাঙ্গাইলকে ঢাকা বিভাগে রাখার দাবিতে মহাসড়ক অবরোধ, ময়মনসিংহে বকেয়া বেতন সহ 10 দফা দাবিতে সড়কে শ্রমিকদের অবস্থান এবং যাত্রীদের মরণ ফাঁদে পরিণত হয়েছে কুমিল্লা সিলেট। প্রচারণার শেষ দিনে ব্যস্ত চাকসু প্রার্থীরা দিচ্ছেন প্রতিশ্রুতি। রাকসুতে প্রচারপত্র বিলিতে চলছে শেষ সময়ের প্রচারণা। পুলিশি হামলার প্রতিবাদে সারা দেশের এমপিওভুক্ত শিক্ষকদের অনির্দিষ্টকালের কর্মবিরতি। শিক্ষা
was possible. You brought most of the Arab world. You brought most of the world behind your proposal to free the hostages and end the war. I want to thank Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, and Ron Dermer for their great contribution to this effort. and I want to thank our negotiating team. I believe that the close cooperation between the two of us, between our two nations, combining Israel's military pressure and President Trump's unmatched global leadership. I have to tell you, I've seen a lot of American presidents. I've seen them all in the time that I've been here, and I've been here quite a lot of time. I've never seen anyone move the world so quickly, so decisively, so resolutely as our friend President Donald J. Trump. With our military pressure and President Trump's global leadership, we achieved this historic moment. It's a moment of indescribable joy as our nation embraces our sons who are coming home. Mr. President, this week, Jews around the world are going to read the book of Ecclesiastes, Kohelet, in the Bible. The Bible has many miraculous moments. One of them was your decision to bomb Fordo. I think it was a pivot of history because it wasn't meant only to bomb Fordo. That action and your previous action of taking out Qasem Soleimani, the architect of death, I think that changed the balance of power in the world. You brought America back again to the driver's seat. Now, I said that we're going to read this week the book of Ecclesiastes. It's not a book of action. It's a book of meditations, of thought, a perspective on life and on death. And in this book, we read the immortal words of King Solomon. To everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven. Et milchama ve'et shalom. A time for peace and a time for war. The last 2 years have been a time of war. The coming years will hopefully be a time for peace. Peace inside Israel and peace outside Israel. I look forward to continuing marching with you on the path we paved together with the Abraham Accords. Under your leadership, we can forge new peace treaties with Arab countries in the region and Muslim countries beyond the region. Abraham's children will work together to build a better future, a future that will unite civilization against barbarism, light against darkness, and hope against despair. And my friends, I believe that with President Trump's leadership, this will happen a lot faster than people think. As Prime Minister of Israel, I extend my hand to hold those who seek peace with us. No one wants peace more than the people of Israel. Israel will always remain vigilant in defending itself, and Israel will always remain full of hope. Hope is our national anthem. Hope is our creed. Hope is our strength. It is time, my friends, to realize that hope and expand the circle of peace. Mr. President, thank you for all you have done for us. I have submitted your nomination to be the first non-Israeli recipient of the Israel Prize, Israel's highest award. As to that other prize, just a question of time, you'll get it. But I want you to get the Israel Prize, our highest award, to our greatest friend. When others were weak, you were strong. When others were fearful, you were bold. When others abandoned us, you stood by our side. On behalf of the government and people of Israel, I thank you for your extraordinary friendship. Thank you for helping bring our hostages home. Thank you for supporting Israel's march to victory. Thank you for paving a path to peace. מכובדי נשיא ארצות הברית, ידידי דונלד, ברוך הבא לישראל, ברוך הבא לירושלים, ברוך הבא ביום המרגש הזה, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. May God bless you and your family, Mr. President. May God bless America. May God bless Israel. And may God bless the covenant between our two promised lands. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President.
Come on up, opposition. Come on, opposition.
Yeah.
Okay. אני מתכבד להזמין כעת את ראש האופוזיציה, חבר הכנסת יאיר לפיד.
Mr. Speaker, members of Knesset, ministers, President Herzog, Prime Minister Netanyahu, distinguished guests, Your Excellency, President Trump. For 2 years, we waited for this moment. 2 years of sleepless nights, 2 years without air in our lungs. Our eyes are filled with tears today. Our hearts are filled with gratitude. Our children are coming home. In the Babylonian Talmud, a sacred book of the Jewish people, it is written, whoever destroys one life, it is as though he destroyed an entire world, and whoever saves one life, it is though as he has saved an entire world. Mr. President, you have saved the lives of our hostages. But you saved so much more. You have saved the souls of the bereaved whose loved ones now will be brought home for burial. You have saved thousands of soldiers who will now not fall in battle. And you have saved millions from the horrors of war. You have saved more than one life, and each life is an entire world. This is a historic moment, and a reminder that history is shaped by people. It is shaped by those who know the past, but have the vision to change the future. When you were elected, you declared that you would be the president of peace. You have kept your word. The fact that you were not awarded the Nobel Peace Prize is a grave mistake by the committee. But they will have no choice, Mr. President. They will have to award it to you next year. Peace will not come by waiting. It will come by building, by reaching out, and by daring once again to believe. You, Mr. President, have done the unimaginable. We will be eternally grateful. But we also need to take responsibility. The destiny of Israel will always be written by the people of Israel. We must now prove ourselves worthy of what has been achieved. From its founding, Israel has said to the world that our strength, our power, rest upon our values. Israel is the strongest country in the Middle East because we are the only democracy in the Middle East. Because we believe in the principles laid in our Declaration of Independence, which says Israel will ensure complete equality of social and political rights to all its inhabitants, irrespective of religion, race, or sex. It will guarantee freedom of religion, conscience, language, education, and culture. It will safeguard the holy places for all religions. Those are our values. That is who we are as people, as a country. Our neighbors must understand one more thing about us. We are not going anywhere. The Middle East is our home. We are here to stay. Our story did not end in the Bible. It began there. It continues in our laboratories and universities, in our innovation hubs. Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran, and the Houthis, they all read the wrong intelligence reports. The real intelligence report on Israel's intentions is found in the book of Genesis. And I will give you and your descendants after you the land of Canaan for an everlasting possession. We call upon the nations of the Islamic world and all our neighbors, Saudi Arabia, Syria, others. We are here to stay. We can do great things together. Come and talk to us. Mr. President, you are the one who can make it happen, as you did with the historic Abraham Accords. Then too, no one believed it was possible. Then too, you imposed your vision on everyone. While others spoke of difficulties, you created opportunity. You can be the one to bring the next wave of peace. The people of Israel support this. They want this. We are ready. And you can later today in Egypt with your unbelievably talented team, my friends Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, Marco Rubio, Pete Hegseth, forge a regional alliance that will change not only the Middle East but the entire world. After 2 years of war, the peoples of this region should look around and ask themselves, whose situation is better? Those who chose the path of peace or those who chose the path of war. Those who invested in their people, in the education of their children, in science and education and technology, or those who invested in hate and in violence. From here I say to all those who demonstrated against Israel these past 2 years, on the streets of London and Rome, in Paris and in Columbia University. I do not represent the government, as you know. I am the leader of the opposition. And I tell you, then, you were deceived. You were deceived. Propaganda experts, funded by terror money, manipulated you. Now that the war has stopped, you have time and a chance to go and learn the facts. The truth is, there was no genocide, no intentional starvation. The truth is, there was an army and a country fighting in the most complicated conditions imaginable against terrorists who send their own children to die for a follow-up, who use their own children as human shields. The truth is that a democratic state was attacked by a fanatical terrorist organization. 1,200 people were killed in one day, women were raped, babies were burned alive. And all that, on all the while, they played with your minds, selling you the absurd idea that supporting Islamic terror is somehow a liberal value. There is good and evil in this world. When you stand with Hamas, you stand with evil. When you stand with Hezbollah, you stand with evil. When you stand with the Iranian regime, you stand with evil. When you stand with Israel, you stand on the side of justice. Last week I attended the 7th October memorial ceremony. An inspirational woman called Galit Dan spoke on stage. Galit had a daughter, Noya, a 13-year-old girl who was autistic like my daughter. And Noya was full of light. She loved Harry Potter. On that dark day, Noya was sleeping at her grandmother's, Carmela's house in Kibbutz Nir Oz. Carmela was 80 years old. Their bodies, grandmother and granddaughter, were found embraced. They were murdered together. On stage at the ceremony, Galit said a sentence that moved us all. We don't want revenge, she said. We want redemption. Today, the redemption begins. Israel has endured 2 terrible years on the battlefield and in the international arena. But in those 2 years, we also rediscovered our own greatness. We remember how good we can be. Our pilots who took control of the skies over Iran. Our industries leading the world in technology. Our civil society, which reached out to help every victim of the war. We will move forward toward a different future. Our heroic soldiers who saved us all will fold away their uniforms and rise as teachers and engineers, scientists and innovators, investors and small business owners. We will never be able to repay the debt to those who sacrificed everything these past years, to those who, as President Lincoln said, gave the last full measure of devotion. We can only be worthy of them, worthy of their sacrifice. Mr. President, allow me to speak also to the businessman in you, the deal maker who understands value. If there were one stock in the world I would invest in today, it is the state of Israel. If there were one nation that deserves unrestricted access to GPU chips, to AI and SMR technologies, to American markets, it is the State of Israel. Israel's future is intertwined with our eternal alliance, our strategic and moral covenant with our greatest friends, the United States of America. This war is over. We will always need to stay vigilant, to guard against those who seek our destruction. But the State of Israel is about to reinvent itself. The challenges ahead demand not only strength, but a new vision. It's time to take a new path, to be a nation that is advanced and thriving and peace-seeking. We have waited for this moment, for the end of the war, for the return of the hostages, for the chance to rechannel our grief and loss into the energy needed to rebuild our nation. Thanks to you, Mr. President. Thanks to our soldiers, our lions. Thanks to the millions of great Israeli patriots who filled the streets and the square and never, not for one moment, gave up on the hostages. Thanks to all of them, the strength within us can now rise, succeed, and build for our future and for our children. Thank you very much. God bless the United States of America. Am Yisrael Chai.
אני מודה לראש האופוזיציה. ועכשיו, members of the Knesset, it is now my distinct honor to invite the President of the United States of America, His Excellency Donald J. Trump, to address the Knesset.
Thank you very much, everybody. It's a great honor. Nice place. Very nice place. Mr. President, Mr. Prime Minister, Mr. Speaker, esteemed members of the Knesset, and cherished citizens of Israel, we gather on a day of profound joy, of soaring hope, of renewed faith, and above all, a day to give our deepest thanks to the Almighty God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. After 2 harrowing years in darkness and captivity, 20 courageous hostages are returning to the glorious embrace of their families, and it is glorious. 28 more precious loved ones are coming home at last to rest in this sacred soil for all of time. And after so many years of unceasing war and endless danger, today the skies are calm, the guns are silent, the sirens are still, and the sun rises on a holy land that is finally at peace, a land and a region that will live, God willing, in peace for all eternity. This is not only the end of a war, this is the end of an age of terror and death, and the beginning of the age of faith and hope and of God. It's the start of a grand concord and lasting harmony for Israel and all the nations of what will soon be a truly magnificent region. I believe that so strongly. This is the historic dawn of a new Middle East. I want to express my gratitude to a man of exceptional courage and patriotism, whose partnership did so much to make this momentous day possible. You know who I'm talking about. There's only one, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Bibi, please stand up. And he is not easy, I want to tell you. He's not the easiest guy to deal with, but that's what makes him great. That's what makes him great. Thank you very much, baby. Great job. And let me also convey my tremendous appreciation for all of the nations of the Arab and Muslim world that came together to press Hamas to set the hostages free and to send them home. We had a lot of help. We had a lot of help from a lot of people that you wouldn't suspect, and I want to thank them very much for that. It's an incredible triumph for Israel and the world to have all of these nations working together as partners in peace. And it's pretty unusual for you to see that, but it happened in this case. This was a very unusual point in time, a brilliant point in time. Generations from now, this will be remembered as the moment that everything began to change, and change very much for the better. Like the USA right now, it will be the golden age of Israel and the golden age of the Middle East. It's going to work together. I'd like to thank several great American patriots for their invaluable help in getting something done that almost everyone thought was absolutely impossible. We were wasting our time. So many people said, "You're just wasting your time." But we weren't, because we had talented people working with us, and we had people that loved your country, and frankly, people that loved the region. They loved the Middle East. I want to thank my friend Steve Witkoff. You know, Steve was chosen by me. He never did this before, but I knew him as a few things. He was a great businessman, but I know a lot of great businessmen, to be honest with you. He had tremendous negotiating skills, but I know a lot of people that negotiate pretty well, although it is an art. But there are people that can negotiate pretty well. But most importantly with Steve, he's just a great guy. Everybody loved him. Everybody. I mean, I know some negotiators that are so good, but you wouldn't have had peace in the Middle East. It would be in World War III right now with some of these guys. Everybody loves Steve, and they respect him, and they somehow can relate to him. I've known him for many years, and I've seen it over and over again.
להוציא את חבר הכנסת עודה, להוציא אותו מהאולם, להוציא אותו מיד, החוצה, החוצה, החוצה. להוציא גם את חבר הכנסת כסיף, להוציא את חבר הכנסת כסיף מהאולם, להוציא אותו מיד. Sorry for that, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Please.
That was very efficient. So back to Steve. He's... But I tell one story because he was so involved, and then we called in Jared. We need that brain on occasion. We got to get Jared in here. We got to get a certain group of people. But Steve started this all by himself. I call him Henry Kissinger, who doesn't leak. Okay? Henry is a big leaker. He leaked. Steve doesn't leak. Steve just wants to get the job done. He wants to do what's right. But I'll give you just a quick story because, as you know, he's working on the war with Russia and Ukraine, a war that would have never happened if I were president. A shame. 7,000 young soldiers a week are being killed. More than that this last week. It's a shame. It should have never happened. But it did happen, and we won the race, and I took over this horrible war that's been raging, and I thought it would be easily settled. I thought it was a hell of a lot easier than doing what we just did very successfully with Israel and a lot of other people. But this came first, and we'll get that one. But I set up a meeting for him to meet with President Putin, thinking it would be a 15 or a 20-minute meeting. Steve had no idea about Russia, had no idea about Putin too much, didn't know too much about politics, wasn't that interested. He was really good at real estate, but he had that quality that I was looking for, and I didn't see it around in too many ways. And I set up the meeting with Putin, and I called. I said, is Steve finished yet? That was about a half an hour into the meeting. No, sir, he's not. He's still inside. This is in Moscow. I said, well, how's he doing? I don't know, sir. He's still inside. I called up an hour later. Let me speak to Steve. Sir, he's still with Putin. He's with President Putin. I said, wow, that's a long meeting, 1 hour. I called up an hour later, he was still with Putin. 3 hours later, he was still with Putin. 4 hours, and then first he came out. What the hell were you talking about for 5 hours? And he says, just a lot of interesting things. We're talking about a lot of interesting things, including what he went in there for, but you can't talk about it for 5. You can talk about it for a certain period of time, and you know what you're getting. But that's a talent. That's a talent where you can do that. Most people I'd send in, number one, they wouldn't be accepted. Number two, if they were, the meeting would last 5 minutes. And that's what happens with Steve. Everybody loves him. They love him on this side. They love him on the other side. And he really is. He's a great negotiator because he's a great guy. So thank you very much, Steve, very much. And let me also give a very special thanks to someone who truly loves Israel. In fact, loves it so much that my daughter converted. My daughter converted. I didn't know this was going to happen. And Ivanka's here. And Bibi, you do know this was not in the cards for me. You understand that. And she is so happy, and they are so happy. At least I think they're happy. If they're not, we have a big story, right? No, they have a great marriage, and they get along great. They're best friends. They have a very special relationship. But Jared has been so helpful. He really did something very special. He established the Abraham Accords with a group of very wonderful people. I like calling it the Avraham Accords because people that, right? Avraham. It's so cool. It's so much sort of nicer, you know? The Abraham versus the Avraham. I just don't want to sound too sanctimonious when I do it. So, you know, I sort of split it up. This way we keep everybody happy. But we have some very great talent, and they have no excuses for anything that's taken place, because we had some unbelievably good people working on this. And then you're going to add a man named Marco Rubio, who is also here. That's right. And I have a prediction that Marco will go down, I mean this, as the greatest Secretary of State in the history of the United States. I believe that. I believe it. And he and I, you know, we really fought it out. You remember, he was tough. He was nasty. Who the hell thought this was going to happen, Marco, right? And now I'm saying he's going to go down as the greatest. He will. He was always smart and sharp, and people respect him. And then we have somebody who's young, but an unbelievable leader. I saw it a long time ago, and he's turned out to be even better than we thought. Right, Susie? I think even better. And that's Pete Hegseth, who is our Secretary of War, formerly Secretary of Defense. And as you know, we decisively won World War I. We decisively won World War II decisively. And everything in between and everything before it, we won everything. And then they had the brilliant idea of changing the name from war, you know, it was war, to defense. And with that went a certain thinking. And we fought in a very politically correct way after that. We always had the strongest military, and now we have a stronger military than we've ever had before. Because of my first term, I've totally rebuilt the military, every aspect of it. But we have, if you think, we settled 8 wars in 8 months. I'm now including this one, by the way, if that's okay. They may say, well, that was quick. Because yesterday I was saying 7, but now I can say 8. The hostages are back. The hostages are back. It is a good feeling. Isn't that nice to say? You know, I just said the hostage. First time I said the hostages are back. It feels so good to say it. But when you settle 8 wars in 8 months, that means you don't like war. Everyone thought I was going to be brutal. In fact, I remember Hillary Clinton during a debate, she said, look at him, he's going to go to war with everybody. And actually, she said, he's got a personality that's all about war. No, and my personality actually is all about stopping wars. And it seems to work. It seems to work. But it also means this name change and our attitude that we're not going to go into a war. But if we do, we're going to win that war like nobody has ever won a war before. We will not be politically correct, but we're not going to be there. And I think, you know, as you mentioned, Bibi, before, peace through strength. And that's what it's all about. The United States has the greatest and most powerful military in the, right now, history of the world. I can tell you we have weapons that nobody's ever dreamt of. I only hope we never have to use them. I rebuilt the military. I was proud to do it, but some of the things I hated to do. I hated certain of the weapons because the level of power enormous. It's so dangerous, so bad. But we have to do what we have to do. We make the best weapons in the world, and we've got a lot of them. And we've given a lot to Israel, frankly. And I mean, Bibi would call me so many times, can you get me this weapon, that weapon, that weapon? Some of them I never heard of, Bibi, and I made them. But we'd get them here, wouldn't we? And they are the best. They are the best. But you used them well. It also takes people that know how to use them. And you obviously used them very well. But so many that Israel became strong and powerful, which ultimately led to peace. That's what led to peace. So as we celebrate today, let us remember how this nightmare of depravity and death all began. 2 years ago, on the eve of the Simchat Torah holiday, thousands of innocent Israeli civilians were attacked by terrorists, and one of the most evil and heinous desecrations of innocent life the world has ever seen, the worst slaughter of Jews since the Holocaust. The cruelty of October 7th struck to the core